All right, what's up, my brothers? I've said many times on this channel and in my book, you want to be very, very careful about inviting a woman into your life that loves to party, loves to go away with her girlfriends, spring break, whatever it happens to be. I have a 37-second video here that was recorded at spring break in Fort Lauderdale, which is going to add some context to this, and I'll expand on this afterwards. But let's watch this together first, and then we'll have a quick conversation about why you really shouldn't take women like this seriously.
I have a man. He doesn't live here. He's in Michigan.
He doesn't live here.
No, he lives in Michigan.
But you live here.
Yeah, I met him here.
You're on spring break.
I met him here like in the beginning of March.
That's dangerous. You're playing a dangerous game right now. It's spring break. I don't know.
I know. I'm lucky.
All right, guys. I interviewed that girl, and she said she had a boyfriend in Michigan. Wow, what the f*** going on, bro? Unacceptable behavior. Like I said, if you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend and they come to Fort Lauderdale spring breaks, break it off. It's on.
All right, well, let's hit the road and have a quick conversation about women that love to travel with their friends to party. I get a lot of pushback on this a lot of the times. Many of the more uninitiated guys, the guys that are sort of plugged into society's comforting lies, will say something like, well, that's not all women, or you should be able to trust her, or not all women are like that. That's a very common rebuttal to these statements that I make around this. But it's not that all women will do this. It's that all women have the capacity to step out on a relationship in environments and circumstances like this, as you just saw. He's literally just talking to her, had an interview. She's talking about having a boyfriend, and she's down having a good time. As, you know, women will tell their boyfriends or their husbands, it's harmless, you know, we're just going with Becky and Karen, and we're just gonna hang out and get some sun and, you know, relax and unwind sort of thing. It's reading week. We're taking a break from exams, from school, from work, whatever it happens to be. That's usually how it's sold. And then most guys that are still plugged into comforting lies, which is about 80% of guys out there, will just be like, okay, they don't really like it. There's something kind of like tugging on them or pushing on them, or a little voice that says, you sure about this, bud? But they'll still do it because they've been told men and women are equal. Men should become less so women can become more, you know, treat men and women the same sort of thing. And this social experiment really isn't working very well, is it? If you just listen to this, I'm going to kind of explain what this gal looked like to you. She's an attractive young gal. She's wearing a cross, so she's a woman of God, you know, of course, and wearing a kind of a very small bathing suit, if I can put it that way. There's a lot of breast material showing underneath and around the side, if you get what I'm saying, if you're listening to this. Those that have watched the video have seen it. So how do you deal with this, guys? And for the gals listening at this, I want the ladies to also think about this, because women know what happens when you get together with women and you throw guys in the equation in a party type environment, mix in some alcohol, maybe a little bit of drugs, maybe alcohol and drugs. Then you hear sound bites like, you know, well, what happens at spring break stays at spring break. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happened in, you know, the Greek islands stays in the Greek islands for the summertime sort of thing. You get what I'm saying. This is the logic, this is the reasoning that women will use. And why wouldn't they? Because they've been told that it's acceptable. And when women are convinced to behave like men, they're going to behave like men. Promiscuity is not good. I've said this many times. There's a study, the Teachman study itself. You guys can go look it up. And it established very, very clearly that a woman's past, her notch count, if you can boil it down to that, is one of the strongest determining factors to her happiness and commitment in a long-term relationship, i.e. a marriage. Because that tends to be the end goal a lot of the times. A lot of women, by the time they sort of party through their 20s at some point, 25, 26, 27, usually by 30 the latest, they come to some sort of epiphany like, all my friends are getting married, my brother's got kids, I feel this biological calling, and they want to get right with God sort of thing. They find somebody to settle down with. And the problem with that is they usually don't settle one with their first choice. They usually don't get that guy because he was at spring break or in Vegas for that weekend and they hooked up, or there's a number of different guys. I've seen gals admit in these street interviews before where they talk about in 1 week they slept with an entire platoon of guys in the military. I'm not even kidding. I'm sure you guys, or some of you that are watching this, have seen that as well. And as her notch count increases, as it goes up beyond 3 or 4, they stop collecting the data after about 11, depending on which study that you look at. They either stop collecting the data at 11 or 20, but either way, the point being is that it gets really bad. Her chances of being happy, being married as a virgin, are something like 84%. I think it's in the very low 80%. It's very high. The chances of her being happy and committed, being able to form a monogamous pair bond to a guy that has been promiscuous, and again, depending on which study you look at, they stop collecting the data around either 11 to 20, It's not good. I think it's in the 20% area, something like 23 or 24%. It's very, very low. So that being said, why is it that women are making these dangerous choices? Because again, the results you get out of life, I preach this all the time to guys, can always boil down exactly to the choices that you make. I've said this many times. This really falls on fathers and brothers, or has in the past, we can put it that way. Fathers and brothers would often gatekeep their daughters and sisters to make sure they didn't make stupid choices in their life so that they could do well. And some people say, well, why are they getting involved? They shouldn't be controlling their daughters or their sisters, sort of thing. And it's like, yeah, maybe that's true in some of the cases. And I'm sure maybe 200 years ago or 500 years ago, some women might have got married off to less than ideal situations, but for the most part, they wanted what was best for them. I can almost guarantee in every case. So when women are traveling and doing things like this, especially in a relationship, single or in a relationship, it's really a bad call either way, but especially in a relationship, you've got to expect bad things to happen. I trust the locks on this car. I know they work. When I lock the car, it beeps, the mirrors fold in, I know the car's locked. But I don't trust this car with the doors locked in a crappy neighborhood. Something on a balance of probabilities, they might steal the wheels, they might steal the car, they might key it up. Something will probably happen that is less than ideal if I lock this car in a bad neighborhood. Now, a gal, a woman, some people are, it's not property, doesn't matter. The point that I'm making is that if you make a sequence of bad choices, they could potentially lead to a sequence of bad results. If you're serious about a guy, ladies and men, if you're serious about a gal and she's asked for your commitment and you give it to her, there should be no room in that relationship for spring breaks and situations like that. You saw what happened. You saw with your own eyes what happened. She went from, I have a boyfriend, he's in Michigan, I'm here now, I'm just on spring break sort of thing. And then you see her in a guy's arms doing God knows what later on that night. You can put two and two together. Do I need to breadcrumb it and spell it out for you? I think most of you guys know what happens in situations like that when you mix vacations and alcohol and music and parties and plausible deniability. All women won't do this, but all women have the capacity and the capability to do this. And I promise you, whether they're in a relationship or not, at some point, whether they do it on that trip or the subsequent trip or the 1, 2, or 3 prior to that, something bad happens. So guys, if you have a gal that's like, I want to go on spring break, I want to go away for Becky's birthday in Las Vegas, I want to go to Ibiza for a foam cannon party for a week with my girlfriends to attend a music festival or something like that, your best position in a scenario like that to sort of deal with it, because I like to offer some prescriptions at least to solve these problems for you guys, is look, I can't take a woman seriously, I can't invest in her, I can't love you or want to marry a woman like you or stay married to a woman like that doesn't take this relationship seriously. Because that's basically what she's saying. She's basically saying, I don't take you that seriously, right? I want to exercise some options, and whether she does or not, you'll find out. Maybe you won't find out. Maybe it'll be concealed. But on a balance of probabilities, I can't tell you how many times I've discovered myself personally, in almost all occasions, you learn after the fact. And having conversations with guys that I've consulted with over the years, and there's been thousands now, they always arrive at the same conclusion. That was a bad choice. I should have not let her lean into that boundary. I should have not let her do that. And again, some guys have some difficulty with it. Oh, I don't want to come off as controlling. And some women will say, well, why are you so controlling? Why are you so insecure? It's not insecurity. It's not controlling. If I'm to love a woman and I'm to care for her, I expect that she won't do anything that will potentially ruin, expose, jeopardize, compromise this relationship. Because let's be honest, guys, there's no man that ever lets a gal go on vacation and thinks to himself, unless he's a cuckold, thinks to himself, gee, I wish my gal was getting her guts rearranged by a bunch of dudes while she's on spring break. That's not how guys think. So you can lie to yourself, guys, as much as you want, those that are vehemently opposed to what I'm saying here, and women that are all, oh, why are you so insecure or so controlling? You're lying to yourselves as well. Y'all know what happens. Y'all have seen it or have heard about it firsthand or seen it firsthand. You're just denying it. So, gentlemen, it's my advice to you. If you love a woman and she's asked for your commitment, there has to be boundaries. There can't be any room in that relationship for her to go out and have fun, do spring break, do weekends away with the girls. That doesn't mean that she can't have friends. That doesn't mean that she can't do a girls trip. A girls trip way up in cottage country to do a book club review with just the ladies, fine, no problem. I know where you're at. You're safe. I got a landline to it. It's my dad's cottage. It's my cottage, whatever, something like that. You know what's going on for the most part. and it's on a bounce probability, he's probably going to be very, very safe, right? I mean, there's probably more danger from the bear. We can talk about the bear or the stranger in the woods conversation again some other time. You've probably heard that one. But you get what I'm saying here, right, guys? You don't want to completely lock it off, but there has to be some logic and reason in what it is that you're going to lock off, in what it is that you're going to prohibit. So exercise some leadership, men, in a relationship if you're going to invite one into your life, so that you don't put yourself in a position where you're one of those guys that calls me up or books me for a consult and is like, my wife cheated on me, she's untying the knot, she said that she loves me, she's not in love with me, she's taking the kids, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, you played a role in that. As much as you don't want to admit it, fellas, you played a role in it by allowing it. And you have to put your foot down and set a firm boundary when it comes to relationships and women. And ladies, you want a strong leader, you want an alpha male, well, guess what? This is what comes with the territory. You want a successful guy that can make bank and make it rain and is strong and masculine. He's probably, especially if he knows my content, is going to say, look, I love you, but I'm not going to tolerate a relationship, a girlfriend, a wife, whatever it happens to be, that wants to run off and have fun with her girlfriends. That's not for me. I know what goes down. You know what goes down. And even though you say nothing is going to go down, again, I trust the locks in my car. I'm not parking it overnight in a neighborhood. There's a bunch of links pinned below in the top comment. You want to check it out. My book, my community, a bunch of other stuff. You want to book me for a consult, check it out. See you guys later. Have an awesome day. Peace.
I don't ever slow up. No, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you want to play tough,